back. That's right. Tuesday night, 8 p.m. on a Chateau de Mars Hill network or studio network. Might as well just be a network. Who cares? I mean, if you can cut your PP off, you're becoming a woman. So network can be a studio at the same time, right? 2 + 2 = 5. But anyway, we're back with another episode of Whitty Reviews. I know there goes a sample. There goes the idea that I can make this show clean at all. Oh, well, what are you going to do? But anyway, Tuesday night, 8 p.m., Whitty Reviews. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Got a fun show. We're going to be talking a lot of crap. You know, we're going to do a little bit of trolling, but more or less, we're just going to be talking about information and things that are going on right now inside the Indianapolis GOP, inside the Indiana GOP, and what's kind of going on with this whole redistricting. And also, you guys should really start listening to me because I'm right about most things, all right? I'd say like 99.9% of things I am right on, and I'll give you another example. And when I talk about politicians and how scummy they are, when I call it, all right? Anyway, word in the house, let's go. All right, so let's do a little recap right now. I'm not playing anything, so I don't need these headphones. All right, so let's do a little recap of what happened in the last, week or two. So I was at the Indianapolis City Council meeting last Monday, and I noticed, as you guys know, when field reporter for Indy Reporter over here, that's me, and I was like, Michael Paul Hart is just kind of chilling, talking to other people, but he's not at the table, like the leadership table, where the prez, where the vice prez, and where the minority leader is normally sitting at. I was like, that's interesting. And then someone messaged me and said, did Michael Paul Hart get kicked out? I was like, what? And I was like, oh my God, that's probably why he's not at the table right now. So long story short, Michael Paul Hart gets kicked out of the minority leadership position. Yeah, MPH. So I want to kind of give a brief overview of why that kind of happened and where the future of the party is, because what have I constantly said for this entire year? That the Indianapolis GOP is run by douchebags that don't care about the people. They only care about the donors, and they're a bunch of boot-licking shield protectors. I've said this for a long time. All right, so let's talk about Jesse Brown, communist Brown, socialist Brown, fake Democrat. Well, he's a Democrat socialist. So back in February, and by the way, I called it the last year. I said, I bet in a year, Jesse Brown is going to get kicked out of the caucus. Jimmy Bennett in the chat, let's go. And what happened in February? Jesse Brown gets kicked out of the caucus. And it was mostly not because he's a Democrat socialist. It was because he was talking crap about the leadership. He was talking about charter schools with what is it, Carlos Perkins, Dr. Carlos Perkins, even though he's like a doctor and some bullshit thing. He was talking about Maggie Lewis and anybody that really had to do with the charter schools. And then he ended up pointing out how Allie Brown and the consulting place that Allie Brown's husband created and how they get money from the charter schools. It was actually very entertaining. I was at the city county meeting when it happened. I was like, no way. And Jesse Brown just tapping away on his phone. And then you guys remember we were making fun of the whole thing. It was like, hey, that's what's going to happen. You can't go after leadership too many times before they finally get fed up with you. So anyway, Jesse Brown gets kicked out of the caucus on February 3rd, 2025. So fast forward, he goes, then Peter Blankard, he goes and talks about it. Kiff, strongest soldier, let's go. Don't really need to talk about Peter Blankard, but Brown says he was ousted for calling out 3 counselors, Maggie Lewis, Carlos Perkins, and Leroy Robinson, who signed the letter in support of IPS sharing tax dollars with charter schools. And then, so Brown has been voting against fairly routine appointments of department heads, saying he can no longer continue rubber stamping this administration. To Jesse's credit, because a broken clock is right twice a day or however it goes, he would basically be doing what I would be doing. But I'm way more charismatic. I'm much funnier when it comes to this kind of stuff. I would come up with something way more clever than how Jesse is doing it. All right, so the people that kicked him out was fascinating. So the people to vote to keep him was Dan Boots, Carlino, Jared Evans, Kristen Jones, and Jessica McCormick. So basically all the people on the west side and then everybody else. Funny name that had voted to expel him was Andy Nielsen. Now, Andy Nielsen and Jesse Brown, I had heard had like a meeting somewhere. And that the only reason that I knew about that meeting is because I was supposed to be at a meeting that was happening at the same time, and I get a text message. This was last year saying that Andy Nielsen and Jesse Brown were hanging out. No big deal. I don't know what they were talking about. I guess there's rules too when you're like meeting with other counselors. Like if you're talking about business, you have to have 3 people there. There's like this whole dumb thing. It's like, why can't we just talk about something and then hey, you know what? Maybe we'll mix in a little bit of city council chat. Whatever. Who cares, right? But anyway, the reason why this was a big deal is because he could no longer caucus with Democrats on the council, which basically means that before the council meetings, they all get together. No, he doesn't. Jesse has a dick broom, is what he has. Do you know what a dick broom is? A dick broom is a mustache. That's what Jesse has. That's what he has. So when the pee-pee's going into the mouth, that's what he's brooming on the pee-pee. That's what a dick broom is. So if that's what you're saying, Drew, that he has a better facial hair than me, then yeah, he has a better dick broom. So anyway, so much for using this. Well, this episode shot. Anyway, so fast forward into beginning of July, when the investigative committee was happening, and everybody there were certain people that were saying that Joe Hogsett should resign because of this. And I was like, not really on that. It's like, Joe Hogsett should not be resigning for this. He should resign for everything else that he's done to the city. All right. If you want to throw this on a cherry on top, that's fine. So Josh Bain was one of them. Jesse Brown was obviously one of them, other people. And I'll talk about it here in a little bit, but Michael Paul Hart was not one of them. In fact, there were no Republicans that wanted him to resign than Josh Bain, which I thought was really interesting. You think that would have been a layup. That was my argument when this whole thing was happening. Like, all the Republicans could just say, hey, why don't you just tell him to resign? So anyway, the final meeting for the investigative meeting comes out, and it's just a big nothing burger, which I had said that was going to happen. I thought we were going to get something. And then after the first meeting, I think it was after the first or second meeting, I said, like, nothing is going to happen off of this. Because then you had a middle person in there, and I think it was Fager Drinker. That was basically the middleman between the mayor's office and then Fisher Phillips. No, we are not playing Smash or Pass. Carlino is a hard pass. And McCormick is Fiona McCormick. Anyway, so then my theory was, so Carlino comes out like a week or two after the investigative committee, after they kicked out Lauren Roberts, where Vop Osley basically did nothing. And then Michael Paul Hart was on Tony Katz looking at, and we were making fun of him the whole time from any reporter. He was looking at Vop Osley and be like, hey, how come you didn't do anything? Hey, I don't think this is right. And then like the camera's on Michael Paul Hart, and he doesn't say or do any of that. He's just like totally stunned, doesn't know what to do. Same thing with Allie Brown. She goes on that Black Supremacist podcast. It's like, I can't believe this is happening, but she did nothing. She didn't say anything. She didn't act anything. She just froze in there. She knew that she wanted those people out of there too. I don't care what anybody says. And so Carlino, I think, trying to save her own ass, and come to find out too, that she has not had a job since November, or at least when this was happening. I don't know if she has another job now, which was very fascinating because she used to work for Recycle Force as like the laziest position ever, which is communications. And so I don't know if she got fired or she quit. Doesn't matter to me. But then she goes out and says, I think Joe Hogsett should resign, and I think Vop and Allie should be removed from leadership. And it turns into this huge clusterfuck. And it was awesome. It was great content, because then Allie Brown, she goes on the Black Supremacist podcast, basically yelling about Carlino. It was good stuff. You guys remember that? It was hilarious. It was like just over a month ago. Okay. It was hilarious. I loved it because there was everybody talks about Republicans and the infighting. There is 100% infighting happening inside the Indianapolis Democrat Party without a doubt. Okay. And you can see it in this. This is going to be interesting when the elections happen during 2027, because Bob Osley runs the money. He is like the gateway of people these counselors getting money, and he has his own PAC now, the Voice of the People PAC. Lame. But anyway, so Carlino says she thinks Vop and Allie should be removed from their leadership positions, and Joe Hogg says she resign. So we have the huge mess, whether she got kicked out of the caucus or she removed herself. But finally, and then Rod Gibson says, it's like, well, we gave her an ultimatum, basically kiss the ring, and then, well, maybe you'll get allowed back in the caucus. So ended up on July 7th, she says she decided to leave the Democrat caucus. Why is this important? Because now you have two Democrat members of the Indianapolis City Council that had been basically not part of the caucus anymore. One of them was removed, and one of them basically said, you can't fire me, I quit. Is what Carlino's thing. I think she was, from what Abu said, he said that and a couple other reports were saying that they voted on to keep her in as the caucus, and then my guess is they gave her an ultimatum. And so she ended up leaving. Good call by her, but it's too bad nothing's going to happen now. Unless you give a little smash or pass would be my guess. All right, so this is what's interesting. So at the same day, because this was during the city council meeting, Jesse Brown had just introduced a proposal to have a vote. So that there was a proposal to have a vote the following month to remove Bob Osley and Allie Brown as president and vice president, which was fascinating because whenever you put I think it's a motion, I think it's a motion, you put it on there. The person that did a second to it was Krista Carlino, and she had just removed herself from the Democrat caucus. But I know this is like the long way of saying it, but trust me, you guys need all the details for what's to come. Here's the fascinating part. So basically, Brown puts out a statement, or he makes he gives out a reason why he's doing it. Josh Bain also speaks on it too. There were only two Republicans that voted to have Bob Osley and Allie Brown removed from their leadership positions. Josh Bain and Michael Paul Hart. Mind you, this is the July City Council meeting. All right. In fact, I think I took a screenshot. Yep, I took a screenshot of it. So Paul Annay was not there. Funny timing, am I right, boys and girls? So there were only two. This was the motion to have the vote, because you have to have a motion to have a vote to have it. So the motion failed, obviously. And so there were only four people that voted yes on it. Josh Bain, Jesse Brown, Krista Carlino, and Michael Paul Hart. It was crazy. And you guys should really, yeah, I know. Abu, Drew, and Kif, you are so true. So true. You can put you know what? Put both of those on the screen because they're both right. Now put Drew's up there too, okay? I agree. I didn't say it, by the way. Hey, I didn't say it. All right. I didn't say it. So they put this, so they do that. And this was fascinating timing. It's fascinating timing. So let's do a 30,000 foot view of this thing. Back in February, Jesse Brown gets removed from the caucus he got removed from the caucus from the black folks, actually. If you look at it for real, you got Leroy, you got Maggie Lewis, you got Carlos Perkins, you got Vop. So all the black people in the city council said, sorry, white boy, sorry, Dick Broom commie, you're out of here. And then he got removed. That's exactly what happened. All right. I'm not making it up. David Waters in the house. Let's go. So then last month in the July Indy Council meeting, Jesse Brown introduced a proposal to remove Bob Osley and Allie Brown from her leader position. Krista Carlino seconded. Remember that she called for Hawks to resign and the two to be removed from their leadership positions. Also, she removed herself from the Democrat caucus. Only 2 out of the 5 Republicans that were there are 6, but only 5 of them were there, voted for it. ANA wasn't present. Josh Bain and Michael Paul Hart. Why is this weird? Because this should be a layup. This should be like, hey, this is classic Republicans versus Democrats. We're doing this for show, even if you didn't want to. ANA wasn't there. Mowry should have done it. Cahill should have done it. And Dilk should have done it. None of them did it. So then what happens? Michael Paul Hart, in this, just like 2 weeks ago, he gets removed from his leadership position. I did not even know that you could call a meeting to have somebody removed from their leadership position. And so they all voted on it. It was 4-2. Obviously, Bain and Michael Paul Hart voted to keep Michael Paul Hart as their leadership position. And listen, and so why is this weird? Well, because of this. This is from October 8th, 2023. Who do you see? Which Republicans do you see they're hanging out with? All the Democrats. Brian Mowry, who is now the current minority leader, and then Paul N.A. both voted to kick Michael Paul Hart out from the leadership position, hanging out with all the Democrats. So weird, right? Interesting, very interesting. Almost like there's a uniparty. How many times have I said this, that there is no left and right in Indianapolis? It is one big shit stain, basically. It is almost like a uniparty took a poo-poo, and then when you wiped off the poo-poo from your bum, out came the Democrat and Republican Party of Indianapolis. It's just one giant shit smear. All right, so everybody people were like, well, wait a minute. Michael Paul Hart was talking crap about Hogsett. He shouldn't have done that. No. In fact, look at here. On June 26th, and remember, we gave him a lot of crap about it. I did not only give him a bunch of crap about it. Robin Casey also gave him a bunch of crap about it. And Tony Katz even had a shock face about the whole thing. Because what Tony Katz asked him if he would say that Hogsett should resign. And he said he won't call for Hogsett's resignation because he believes that he will be less effective as a counselor in his district. Translation, I can't call for Hogsett's resignation because I won't be able to get my projects done. And this is the same thing that I've been saying for a long time. Stop taking the high road. You are in a leadership position. You are the king of the table. Even if you're a minority leader, act like it. Don't be a pussy, okay? These people hate you. They do not care about you. And, as much as I don't like the Indiana Republicans, I hate the Democrats even more. It's so true, though. They're a bunch of psychopaths. And when you're in a leadership position, you should be talking crap about the departments and how bad of a job that they're doing. You don't want to talk about Hogsett? Fine. At least talk about the departments and how bad of a job they're doing. The potholes, OFM. You could talk about the public. You can talk about parks. You can talk about the Department of Environmental Sustainability. Get rid of it. Hey, the DEI department, out of here. All right. You can talk about that stuff. You're allowed to talk about that stuff. This is what happens when you decide to try and be friends with these morons. That's exactly what you get. So, moving on. So anyway, this was like June 26th. And obviously he didn't call for Hogsett's resignation. All right. So Michael Paul Hart gets removed from his leadership position. A week later, he has the Smart Indy fundraiser kickoff. Now, the pictures in this thing are very fascinating. Why? Because you have Gregory Merriweather there. I can't take any of these people serious. Everybody in this picture, I cannot take anybody serious because you have this black supremacist race baiter in here hanging out with you guys, thinking like, oh yeah, you know what? We could totally go in the middle, man. Hey man, let's go. Oh yeah. Hey, let's dap him up. Okay. No, this guy will throw you in the river with concrete shoes on. Gregory Merriweather is a piece of shit. All right. And I do not care what anybody says about that. Hey, Gregory, if you want to talk to me, I'm not hard to find. Okay. I'll tell you to your face too. I think you're a race baiting black supremacist. like an actual racist. Like how many times you blame white people, just like I saw you on mouthwash, just like I saw John and Lucy and everybody else saying, it's like, oh, you know what? The Carmel police were pulling over black folks because they're white or because they're black. That's why. Get out of here with that, okay? Maybe it had to do with the pillow of weed smoke coming out of their window. Maybe it had something to do with 55 and a 25 in a school zone. Maybe it's because you're just a public nuisance. And it's like there's probably a good chance that you either have suspended plates or they found something inside your car that's not supposed to be there. Just saying. You know what? There's stereotypes for a reason. All right. All right, so yeah, whatever. There's stereotypes for a reason. So interesting fact too. Listen, racist, knock it off. I can hear all of you seething out there. Go fucking change your tampon. Go take a tissue. All right, so another person that was back here was Devin Anderson. I mean, basically, it was the who's of douchebags and assholes at the Smart Indie kickoff. Devin Anderson right here. I don't know who some of these people are. I think I see Whitney Peterson right here. I'm not sure if that's her because she looks way more female in this picture. Last time I saw Whitney Peterson, she looked like Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler is like I'm not sure if he's gay, but he's also like a tall dude with like really long hair. Hold on, let's see if I find a picture of him. Because Whitney Peterson, I think, is with the prosecutors pack, so it would actually make more sense. Is it Scott Pressler, right? Yeah, there it is. Yeah. All right, all right. Right there, Scott Pressler. Hold on. And then Whitney Peterson right here. All right. Right? Hey, right? They look the same. Then we have the race baiter over here trying to communicate with everybody, trying to make a bunch of white people feel bad for being white so they can get more money off of them, which is the classic scam. Listen, I still like Bane, all right? I understand what he's trying to do, but like Bane's the only person that I trust, by the way. Everybody else can eat shit. Michael Paul Hart sucks. And then I don't know if there's like extra steamy in this room. I don't really recognize anybody in these pictures. That's the weird thing. I think that's Allie Bartlett right there. I don't know. Wait, is that Huckabee right there? Hey, John, is that Huckabee right there? Is that Matt? Hold on. Is he in another picture? I just noticed that now. Is he in it? Oh, he's not in any other pictures. I'm fatigued. Yeah, I'm fatigued too, boss. This one looks like Mirrors back here. I know it's not him, but I can smell a Nosferatu-looking motherfucker anywhere. All right, so I'm pretty sure that's Matt Huckabee. He sucks. I'm pretty sure that's Allie Bartlett. She sucks. And I'm pretty sure that's Whitney Peterson, and she sucks. These are like the worst people ever in this group. And then that, yeah, that was part of his lame-ass newsletter. I like how, by the way, I'm loving how Paul Hart took my advice, even though I never directly told him about it. And I said, hey, when you're going to have a link to the newsletter, make sure the link actually goes to the newsletter. Make sure there's not 2 extra steps that you have to do. So what did he do? Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you check out her beak? I don't know. Hold on. Let's see if a Squawker Bartlett's there. I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Don't worry. I'm going to talk about Bartlett here in a little bit. All right. Because I'm about to troll a candidate. So anyway, here's something interesting that happened. All right. So Paul Hart goes out and make a statement. It was like a week late or like a couple of days later. When's August 12th? Because that was on a Tuesday. Yeah. Oh, it was the next day. Whatever. So Paul Hart says, well, the Indy GOP wants to go slow. Hart declined to comment on whether that vote contributed to the members' decision to vote. Yeah. Hart declined to comment on whether that vote contributed to the members' decision to vote for a new leader. Most Republicans didn't vote in favor of Osley and Brown's removal. Remember, I said that because I made this whole list up, and I think Hammer and Nigel brought it up too. Yeah. I said it that morning at 7:46. When did this article come out? 3:21. Yeah. Where's Natalie Goodwin? Hold on. So I'm pretty sure that's Natalie Goodwin right there. Next to the chick with the Foompa. Anyway. All right, so and then Natalie Goodwin and Brian Maurer declined them to comment. Shocker, right? Brian Maurer, the new leadership who decided to go and hang out with Joe Hogsett and company back in 2023 during a Colts game, right there in the circle. You see Frank Mascari, Keith Potts, Leroy Robinson, Zach Adamson, Maggie Lewis, Kristen Jones, Allie Brown, Hogsett. I forgot what that guy's name is. Vop and Boots and them. That wasn't her. Are you sure that's not her? I'm pretty sure that's her. Listen. I'm pretty sure that's her. I have a picture here in a little bit, though. All right, so here's what's interesting. All right, so now we know what happened. We know that Michael Paul Hart tried to be friends with the Democrats, tried to be friends with leadership, and then it turned out bad as soon as you said, hey, you know what? I don't want you as leadership. And by the way, you had 8 months to do something and you didn't do anything. Yeah, very funny. Very funny. Shot and flat. Yeah, Natalie's waiting for the right moment. Well, you know, it's nighttime now. Maybe she'll come out of her crypt and make a statement. And here's an interesting too. Nobody has said anything. These are, and I'm going to talk crap about Natalie Goodwin in a second. But everybody that endorsed Natalie Goodwin, by the way, they have been silent on everything. Everybody that's in the GOP. So where's Matt Hills? Where's Whitney Peterson? Where's Dave Taylor? Where's all these people that run the Marion County GOP? And they've been completely silent on everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. I think Natalie Goodwin made one statement about the investigative committee. Nobody else has. Nobody's talked about the budget. Nobody's talked about the crime. Nobody's talked about anything, really. And, you know, all of you deserve what you got. And this is really funny because there was Julie McGuire, who back in June 24th, she goes, absolutely agree with Rick Snyder about the Marion County deserves a criminal justice system that ensures accountability. When will the voters make a different choice? Yeah, I know. That's a great question. Where has been everybody? Where's all the township chairs? Actually, no, I'm just thinking about this now. I got plenty of time. I got plenty of time to make fun of all these people. Where's the Indy GOP website? Indiana GOP. There it is. Now I'm thinking about this right now. Where's the calendar? Look at the calendar. When's the next meeting? Hey, when's the next meeting? Anybody know when the next township meeting is? Okay, so we had organization day in March. All right. Nothing. There's no township meetings in April or May or June. I think there's one meeting in for the Broad Ripple. Nothing in July, nothing in August or September, October, November, December. There's nothing. There's no meetings happening during the townships. It's totally over. You guys are about as dead as the Marion County Libertarian Party. Which, by the way, there's a Libertarian meeting tomorrow. If you guys want to hang out, it's at Center Point Brewery at 6:30. Yours truly will be there, hanging out, of course. But look at this. Local clubs. When are they supposed to meet? Really? Because as last I checked, there's nothing on the calendar about them meeting. The Indianapolis GOP is dead. And you guys all did it. All these people, all these schmucks that voted for Natalie Goodwin, you killed. You had a direct result on killing the Indianapolis GOP. This is why I don't care about Michael Paul Hart, because that guy is a complete snake. You guys can say, oh, you know what? He was trying. He was doing all these things. Dude, nothing publicly was happening at all. He was afraid to call out Hogsett. He was afraid to call out the investigative committee. Everybody, I mean, except for Josh Bain. Josh Bain's a G, though, okay? Josh Bain, I would totally shill for Josh Bain. He could do no wrong. Well, he can't do no wrong. He can do wrong, but I would totally shill for Josh Bain. I would glaze him so bad. I would just and I've told him this plenty of times. He should have been leader. Josh Bain 100% should have been leader. In fact, Josh, you know what? I will tell you right now, and everybody in the old Indianapolis GOP, I would still lend my services as a free consulting gig because obviously I was right in what you should and shouldn't be doing. But you know what? When you appoint 300 plus people to vote for Natalie Goodwin, this is what you get. Nothing. This is like prime time to go after the Indianapolis Democrat Party right now. There are fractures everywhere. There are splits everywhere. And what do you decide to do? Nothing. You guys are all afraid. You're a bunch of pansy ass pussies. All right. And I mean, see, that's Whitney right there. See, doesn't that look like that looks like a dude, right? I mean, Whitney Peterson looks like a dude. Looks more. I mean, maybe she got Botox or something, but she looks like less of a. Yeah, that totally did. That's like Sarah Plain and Tall or something. I don't know. Anyway, what was I going to say here? Oh, so this was back in January 19th, 2025. You know, I was basically I was going to be right if Hart continued to be a leader, that he was going to help turn Indiana blue. But I was 100% on Natalie Goodwin. If Natalie Goodwin wins, she will be worse than Joe Elsner. And did I call it? Everybody in the chat, did I not call it? That I said she will be worse than Joe Elsner. At least Elsner will get back to you. It might be a week, but at least he gets back to you. But at least, you know, as much as I don't like Joe Elsner, he at least shows up to meetings, which is like the lowest hanging fruit there is. The calendar was set. In fact, do I still have the calendar? I don't think I do. But go and check the calendar. At least there was somewhat getting done. At least there were meetings happening. At least there were shindigs going on. Everything else, there's nothing else going on. Let's see. And I was right. Yeah, I was so right. Natalie Goodwin got the endorsement for all the Indy GOP townships. If you think leadership looked bad under Elsner, you haven't seen anything yet. Councilor Hart's minority leader, and Natalie Goodwin is township chair. January 20th, by the way. Oh, yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, that is right. Joe never returned any of my 8 emails. That's true. You did not. You never got. Well, that's because of the rule book. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's what it was. And it's uniparty stuff. Total uniparty stuff. Did anything get better under Michael Paul Hart? You guys, and listen, I am no fan of Brian Mowry. I despise Brian Mowry. I despise Paul N.A. and Mike Dilk, and I'm basically over Cahill. A bunch of spineless coward pansies is all they are. Bunch of bootlicking shield protectors. But it's true, though. Did anything get done under the 8 months of Michael Paul Hart? And I know maybe there's a bunch of like inner stuff that happened, but nothing public. And we want to see what's happening publicly. Hey, for all of you guys out there, if we're on all those leadership positions, we want to see what is happening publicly. Something tangible. But you guys are all afraid to do that. You guys have like all the resources there are, and you decided not to use any of them. Yeah, he was leader in January, and now it's August. Which goes to this. So this is from Mr. Crabaceous. Make sure you give a follow to Mr. Crabaceous. Listen, he has 189 followers. I want to see at least 200 followers before the end of this show. So within a half an hour, I want to see 200. I want to see him have 200 followers. And this is a great cartoon, by the way. You got Michael Paul Hart on the GOP caucus 6-seater, policy proposals, council leadership removal motion. And then we have the sloth, which is the Hawks that gets a free pass, VOP and Alley badge. An alley badge. He is the city county goon patrol. And then he has a sign excessive legislative speed, 30 ideas a year in a 5 ID year zone. So true. In the back here, you got VOP, whose name is Samuel, which is true. Victims get 2 medics, and then Alley, I'm so triggered. This is actually the funniest thing ever about Kristen Jones. I wonder if my voters realize I spent $100,000 on my campaign and only won by 77 votes. What that's talking about is when she almost lost her primary. Kristen Jones almost lost her primary to Matt Impink, and Matt Impink would have been way worse. Hey, you know what, Mac? I tried being nice to you, but instead you decided to help out Justin Moed. So you're my enemy now. So Matt Impink almost beat Kristen Jones, but won by 77 votes. And then you got Frank Mascavi over here, which is basically the biggest bitch ever. I mean, classic boomer, pansy, fear-mongering little bitch. And goes, this isn't really happening. It's symbolic, Kristen. And then we got Brian Mowry over here saying, easy there, Tiger. You'll give folks the impression we actually do stuff, which is Mr. Crabacious. I can't put this in the chat. Actually, I might be able to if it's on my YouTube, but it's not. It's right there on the top right. Make sure you give him a follow. Great page to follow. Great stuff that he posts on there. He posts all these cartoons on there. It's the funniest stuff ever. He has this one. This is Ron Gibson. He goes, missing courage, Michael Paul Hart. Drink up with the Hogsett milk. This is so freaking good. That smells fine to me. Sure, Ron. Sure. Which Ron Gibson is like the biggest ball licker of Joe Hogsett. I mean, he will just lift up that dong and just go he will just tongue his butthole all the way through the gooch. That is how much of a loyal soldier Ron Gibson is for Joe Hogsett. It is the funniest thing. All right, so what do we do for the future? I got plenty of time. What do we do for the future? Because this is where things start getting really fun. This is where we start planning, boys and girls, because it's August. We have, 4 months until the end of the year. Then we have another year to start planning. So figure we have a year and 4 months to really formulate a plan. Because right now, we're coming for 4 of the council seats, maybe 5. Josh Bain is off limits, all right? You're not going after Josh Bain, all right? Not now, anyway. Josh Bain's a G. We leave Josh Bain alone. Who we're going after the big players. We're going after Brian Mowry, all right? David Waters went after him and got 37.9 of the vote. We can find somebody to go after Brian Mowry. That will not be a problem. Paul N.A. Now, Jim Sullivan probably would have beat Paul N.A. if it was not for Callie Calloway. I mean, you guys messed up by putting Callie Calloway in there. You would have not had Paul N.A. and Jim Sullivan. It's debatable if he would have been another Cahill or if he would have been on the side of Paul Hart and Josh Bain. It's up for debate right now. Jim is another boomer softy. Mike Dilk. Mike Dilk might be the toughest one to beat because I don't think he had a primary back in 2019, I think. Is that what that was? Yeah, back in 2019. Why are there only 2? What happened here? Doug Wood. Is Doug not there? I don't know. But anyway, Mike Dilk might be a toughie, but I think we can find one for him. Cahill is second toughest because he is in a strong red area. 61-39 from the last election. So basically, if we primary Derek Cahill, the problem is Cahill actually shows up to things. Yeah, I know. Well, we can beat NA and Mowry. Yeah, I understand that they have the same treasurer, which go ahead and look that person up because right now they're in trouble with Rokita, which we can point that out, by the way, for NA and Mowry. And by the way, NA keeps pointing out that he's a director for the Marion County Fairgrounds. If you look at the 2024 990, his name is not on there. So that's stolen valor, okay? Not really, but you know what I'm saying. So Mowry and NA, I think we have a strong chance of beating in the primary. Cahill and Dilk, maybe we can beat Dilk. Yeah, but you just point out what has NA done. Missing NA. I mean, why do I say NA can be beat? Because even by Jim Sullivan himself, even with Calloway in there sucking votes away, NA almost lost. We could put if we know that Jim Sullivan will be on the side of I don't care about Michael Paul Hart, but Josh Bain, We can and make sure that it's just one person, one-on-one. You can beat Paul. You can beat Paul N.A. and Brian Mowry. Because you could point out that their treasurer is the same person, and she's done some naughty stuff. Cahill and Dilk will be the hardest to primary. But Michael Paul Hart, we do not have to primary Michael Paul Hart. We can if we want to, because it'll take away dollars from him. But really what we need is we need a libertarian in the general election, because that will suck away at least 2 to 3% away from his votes. And by the way, we could actually do more than that, because you can just point out the smart Indy thing, where he wants Indianapolis to be the smartest city in the world. What does that mean? 15-minute city. That means security state. And you're going to suck off a little bit more votes from Michael Paul Hart if once people know that he wants cameras up your bunghole, which is true. It's true. He wants it to be the smartest city in the world. I do, that'll vex me. That's a great point, Schadenfreude. Huge mainstay in Southside Indy Catholic. What do you mean? On the Catholic population. Listen, all these people can be trolled bad enough where they will start second-guessing their vote. Because they'll say, well, what exactly have you been doing for me? That's the question. And it's not about if you win or lose. It's about proving a point. That the point is the Indianapolis GOP is crap. They've pissed and shit all over us. It's what did I say back in March? After Natalie Goodwin won the county chair position, what did I say? Revenge is at hand. And we right now are on the Sampson option. We are burn it down option. And that's why I have refused to go to any of these grassroots things. No matter what it is, because if you're not willing to burn the Indianapolis GOP down to the ground, I don't want any part of it. All right. Let them burn their money. And their same thing. It's the Indianapolis political parties right now are worse than the state parties. This is true uniparty bullshit that's happening right now. And by the way, I do not like Michael Paul Hart. I despise Michael Paul Hart. But what they did to him was bullshit. It was just pure pansy ass bullshit of what they did to him. We're off the rails right now. All right. It's basically like Saturday Show, but a little bit more fun, because what they did was say, once you question leadership, they said, we do not want you in the leadership position anymore. And hey, let's get our boy toy Brian Mowry out there. He'll say yes to everything. He'll just rubber stamp everything. He's not going to question what everybody else has to say. We are on burn it down, but we have to be calculated on everything that we do right now. From this month on the way to 2027, we have to be strategic on it. We cannot show our full power level up until 2027. Once those people sign of who they are running against in the primary, then it's balls to the wall. We will totally troll them. We will make sure that all those, and by the way, yours truly will be helping, okay? Don't think that I'm telling all of you guys, get out there and do some door knocking. No. I will be out there helping out too, especially whoever's running against Michael Paul Hart. And I have been saying this for months. If Michael Paul Hart runs for mayor, which there might be a high chance of it, especially now, I will 100% run as a libertarian mayor, because it's not about winning or losing. It's about having fun right now and having a blast of just trolling them and just calling out on their bullshit. We aren't here to play their games. We are here to play our games, and our games are way more fun and clever. So moving on from that, though, I want to talk about some other traitors and people that I have said many times. Yeah, the public safety is the narrative. Yeah, and that's all you have to. And that is a good point, Vic, is because all we have to do is point out of have any of these heavy presence in Beech Grove, Roncalli, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. Well, see, we can run with that. We can run with that, Robert M. Is that Mackie in the chat? Is that who I'm seeing? Yeah, Vinny's sick. Vote for Slick. I mean, all you have to do is point out that the Republicans haven't talked about public safety at all. I mean, and that's the truth. Everything that we'd be pointing out is the truth. What exactly? I mean, you could look at Paul N.A. of how he's stealing everybody's property right now. I mean, one could say that it's stealing people's property, but he had all those proposals to buy up those homes to, I think, to expand county line or something like that. Oh yeah, Jimmy. You're in the Facebook chat. Everybody else is in the YouTube chat. The YouTube chat is where it's at. YouTube chat is where it's at. Vic knows this. Short and Freud knows this. Kiff knows this. Vic knows this. The YouTube chat is really where the fun chat is at. All right, so since we're talking, all right, I got less than 10 minutes. I got 9 minutes, so this is where I have really a lot of fun because now I get to prove how right I was. And can you put the link in the chat for the YouTube? It's on my Jimmy. It's on my Facebook. Because hold on before I go into this though. But all we're going to be doing is my Speedway area can be had. Robert, so true. So true. Did you vote for me, Robert? Because when I ran for city council, Speedway is in my district. But yeah, a Republican could beat Jessica McCormick, especially right now. I have talked to Democrats in that area who have told me personally that they are very disappointed in Jessica McCormick, especially if you look at the Rockville Road expansion. I forgot what it's actually called, but I was trying to help stop that thing. If you talk about that, you could win those Democrats over, especially the boomers. But all we would be talking about is the truth. Thank you, producer John of the Chateau de Mars Hill studio / network. All we have to do is tell the truth. We tell the truth, people will listen. We're not just telling the truth, we're telling the truth with proof. And this is how Indie Reporter has gotten so popular, obviously with the help of Kendall and everybody else, is just exposing the truth. And everybody will talk about it. Lopez will talk about it. Ethan Hatcher will talk about it. Obviously, Robin Casey will talk about it. Everybody will talk about how bad the Republican Party is in Indianapolis if you show them proof. You give them bite-sized truth tablets, tasty red pills, the word will get out and it'll be much easier. Oh, Robert, let's go. Robert voted for me. Hell yeah. Air 5. Yeah, that's awesome. But that's my point. That's how we win, is that we just expose people, especially right now, especially with this redistricting that's happening right now, because there is a major fracture that's happening with the Republicans in Indiana if they want this redistricting. And I'll tell you, if I remember, I'll tell you what my opinion is on it. Not that you guys care. But Craig Haggard is a classic example as a shapeshifter. So August 14th at 7:56 in the morning, John Cisnick, he has this article, and in the article, Craig Haggard says he agrees that they should not be redistricting because Danny Lopez also said it. And he said, noting Indiana is a solid Republican state and constituents are telling him redrawing the U.S. House districts early shouldn't be done. And then what happens last night at 6:39 p.m.? Haggard puts out a tweet. Hoosiers for Haggard goes, commitment to preserving the U.S. as the leader of the free world requires unselfish actions and sometimes sacrifice. We must put aside personal political interest and support mid-decade redistricting in order to ensure Republicans are in the strongest position to govern. He got the call. Then Shreve got the call. Everybody got the call. Yeah. I mean, we'll burn the shit out of it. Yeah. I think Grabowski might make another run against Carson, by the way. And by the way, do not rule out that Jorge Hornado guy that's running against Carson. He legitimately has a chance to primary him. But what have I been saying for months now? And all of you guys have been saying, what's your problem with Haggard? He's one of the good ones, huh? I said, no. I said, I do not think so. And I have plenty of proof of why I do not trust him. I think he is a shapeshifter. I think he will totally throw us to the wolves. I do not think that he's America first. I think he will just go lockstep with whatever all the party will tell him to do. And what happened? I was vindicated. Well, again, I said, do not trust Michael Paul Hart. Everybody's like, no, he's okay. What happened? Stabbed you in the back. Oh, I said, do not trust Craig Haggard. He'll stab you in the back. What happened? Vindicated. What did I say about Jefferson Shreve? Do not trust Shreve. And what happened? Again. See, this is why you just need to trust me when I say, do not trust him and do trust him. And when I say not sure if I can trust him, have that 100%. It's Schadenfreude. Yeah. Well, you spelled APAC wrong too. But these are people that we cannot trust at all. All the federal legislators, not just in the House, but also in the Senate. I do not trust Jim Banks. I do not trust Todd Young. And here in a second, I will show you why I do not trust. Where is it? Do I have it up? How did I not have it up yet? Okay. I'll also tell you why I do not trust the candidate running against Todd Young. But here's the reason why I said a while ago, do not trust Haggard. Back in September of last year, he posted this thing. Hey, enjoyed supporting this from Shreves. Enjoyed supporting Craig Haggard at this first annual Sporting Clay event this week. When Jefferson Shreve, I know you can't hear the sound on this thing, but when Jefferson Shreve ran for mayor, he ran on, hey, you know what? We should repeal concealed carry. We should also make it not allowed where 18-year-olds can buy assault rifles or assault weapons, whatever that is. Funny enough, a few weeks before his little event, Shreve gave Craig Haggard $2,500. So weird, right? And so when I had questions, finally, I had a third person ask Haggard about this. He said, first off, Congressman Shreve, in my opinion, took bad advice in the mayor's race. Really? Because in the mayor's race, in this interview, which you can find on Indie Reporter, he says those are his beliefs. He believes them. So it's obviously not bad advice. Also, I don't believe he has ever been anti-gun. I don't think Shreve believes in anything. I think he is a beliefless, skinwalking shapeshifter. He is now a sitting congressman. Oh, wow. So that means you can get a ticket to the party now. That means all the people that are helping Shreve, maybe they'll help Craig Haggard. Moving on right here. Here's the commercial that he said. Hey, we're right here. The Shreve plan, ban assault, repeal permitless carry, part of it. Bam, right there again. Right here again. What happened over in, when was this? April of this year. He was honored to have been asked to offer the invocation at the largest NRA annual dinner in the country, right here in Indiana. Grateful to stand alongside with patriots, including Indiana NRA board members and CEO Doug Hamlin. Very interesting because who wasn't Craig Haggard? Wasn't this guy, Craig Haggard, part of the NRA? Wasn't he a board member or something? Kind of weird how that happens, huh? Right now, they're trying to whitewash all of Shreve's gun control opinions and make him look like he's this pro-A. And don't forget, the NRA, Shreve had a commercial saying that he had an A from the NRA. That is false. In fact, Jefferson Shreve has received an F rating from the NRA for this election. Shreve, the same guy that was making fun of Mike Speedy for wearing his dead dad's gun vest, and then Shreve pretending to be pro 2A, even though literally the year before he was saying how he should he would be okay with repealing permitless carry and then the assault weapons. Like, there's so much proof. This is what I'm talking about when I say we're going to tell the truth. And here's the evidence of the truth. It's literally this simple. It's low-hanging fruit. But before I end this, there is one other person that I am on the hate list of. If this picture is actually true. Let me make sure I get this right. Right here. If this is scheduled to come out at 11. If this photo is real, we are on the Carlin Yoder hate train. Who is this right here? That looks like Allie Bartlett right there taking a picture with Carlin Yoder. who said that he's going to be running against Todd Young. If this is Allie Bartlett, the same person that was doing door knocking with Justin Mowat, Kerry Hamilton, Victoria Wilburn, Democrats, by the way, and then taking pictures with Carlin Yoder, we are on the Carlin Yoder hate train. Do not trust them at all. Because if he's willing to go, and I'm pretty sure that was at the Jim Banks event where Diego spoke at too. So obviously the Jim Banks hate train has started. I am not a fan of it. I am May 2027. Yeah, that's when the primary is. Hey man, we're getting ready. We're getting ready. All right. We're trying to find some loyal soldiers just to primary some of these people. That's the goal right now. And don't forget, speaking of primaries, David Shelton will be on Mouthwash in about 5 minutes. So make sure you catch that. All right. So 1 minute left. And then producer John, make sure I'm ready to be off here in a second. We have to be prepared. We have to be prepared for next year's election because with this whole redistricting thing, we know that people are, oh yeah, my opinion is I'm 51% for it. I really don't give a shit, but if it mogs Andre Carson, I'm more on board with it. It'll be very interesting though, even though like whoever they prop up as the run against Andre Carson, if he wins the primary, it'll probably be some Leach, some Shield bootlicker is fine. But I'm like 51% for the redistricting because I really don't care. Honestly, I don't care. It doesn't bother me whatsoever because I live in the left side armpit of Indiana. The right side is obviously Lake County. I live in a shithole county, and the Republicans obviously do not care about me or anybody else. But we have to be prepared for next year, but more prepared for 2027. Next year will be the appetizer. If you guys want to get into politics, if you want to start getting into the primary, we can lay out the entire thing. I can take your hand and go into the election office in Marion County at the city county building, and I will help you fill out your form. It's very easy. I made like a 30-second video of it. Oh yeah, Vic, we are done. I am very convinced now that Braun is going to call a special session for sure. We are healing. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, Saturday show, maybe I'll let you know. Tuesday show, don't forget, there's going to be more fun of this, and we're only going to get harder. So make sure you tune in into the Mouthwash happening in about 2 minutes. Love you guys. Bye.